Welcome, everyone. We are going to be talking about the AT parenting community today. And I want to talk about the struggles that a lot of parents who are raising kids with anxiety have and how to get that in depth support. Because a lot of times we look and we lean on our support system and we don't realize that we need to have a developed support network. And that does look different for parents who are raising kids with anxiety and OCD because a lot of our support system doesn't have the skill to be able to help us. So before we jump in, I just want to introduce myself to anyone who's watching who doesn't know who I am. My name is Natasha Daniels, and I am an anxiety and OCD child therapist. And I'm the mom to 3 kids with anxiety, OCD, and all sorts of alphabet soup diagnoses besides that. And I've been a therapist for over 2 decades, and I've transitioned to providing global online resources for parents who, like yourself, might be trying to help their kids with anxiety and OCD. And so that's been kind of my sole mission right now, is just how to make you feel less alone, how to connect you with the right resources and get you going so that you can help your kids with anxiety and OCD. Because the worst thing that happens, and I see this happening all of the time, is parents say, I can't find the right help, and so I'm not going to do anything. Or my child doesn't want help right now, so I'm not going to do anything because I can't do anything. And they become immobilized and they lose time. We don't want to lose time when we're trying to help our kids with anxiety and OCD because you have a window. And whether you've been dealing with this for a really, really long time or this is a new thing, that little window is precious and it's important. And we want to jump on that. We want to get the right help. We want to create a therapeutic home environment that fosters growth. Even if my child doesn't want to work on their anxiety or OCD, or even if I can't get them into therapy for all sorts of reasons, right? It's too expensive. I can't find a specialist. My child won't go to one. I still want to create a home that fosters long-term success and doesn't enable the anxiety and OCD. And unfortunately, the intuitive response, the normal maternal or paternal response to helping our kids with anxiety and OCD often grows anxiety and OCD. So when we enable it or we cater to it or we accommodate it, then often we're growing it. And so we have to learn. What does a therapeutic home environment look like? What do I need to do at home, whether my child wants to work on this or not, so that I can make them have long-term success? That is so huge. I am seeing some questions come through, and so I want to start with that. Uh, Lorna said, "Oh, you know what? I can't read. I wonder how I zoom in." All right. Well, I'll have to not do that. How much is the community per month in UK? Pounds, please. Ayla is behind the scenes. She's the community manager, and she will go to a conversion site and check that out. I have no idea. It is $30 per month. I wanted to make it super affordable. I want it to be like a copay, but I do not know the conversion rate currently because it changes every day. But she can check that out and then share it for you. Biel said, hi, thank you for all you do. I watch your videos often. They are very helpful. Do you offer help individually for adults or individual sessions online? I don't, unfortunately. I closed my private practice when my husband passed away back in 2021. And now I fully focus on the AT parenting community and my online resources. You can go to NoCD at treatmyocd.com for a virtual OCD therapist in your area. BL said your OCD card deck is very helpful, and I've ordered that also. Oh, I'm so glad. I appreciate that. So I want to talk to you about the 4 areas that really hold parents back when they're raising kids with anxiety and OCD. So the first one is isolation. When you're isolated, you live in your own echo chamber of overwhelm and not knowing what you're supposed to do. And that isolation actually can perpetuate the problems. And so isolation is a killer for progress, because when you feel isolated, you easily feel hopeless. And when you feel hopeless, you become immobilized, and then you don't do things to take action to help your child. So isolation is a big one. The second one is a lack of support. We have friends and family, but I don't know about you, but most people don't understand anxiety and OCD, especially OCD. And so that becomes a struggle as far as how do you find support? And how do you find the right kind of help? So that is another huge question. And the third one is your role. What are you supposed to do? A lot of times you finally get your child into therapy and you are still being like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what is my role? How should I respond when OCD is talking to me? How should I respond when they're stuck in a compulsion? How should I respond when they can't go to school? How should I respond when they're not being able to sleep? And so knowing your role is really important as well. And the last one, but I mean, there could be more, but the last one that I want to highlight is the isolation and shame that your child, teen, or young adult feels. And so that's another struggle is until we help them feel validated, until we help them feel like they're getting the right support, they may not want to work on their stuff and they may put their foot on the brake and not work on their things. And so the AT parenting community was designed to address all of that. And that is the hope, is that you are able to have those needs met in different ways. And so when I created the AT parenting community, I looked at all those problems, those 4 areas, and I wanted to provide resources and support in certain areas so that you would be able to not feel isolated, not feel like you have a lack of support, not be confused about what your role is, and to not have your child or teen feel alone. And so feel free to ask questions in about the AT parenting community, but I'm going to just go through it and tell you what's in there. And so the first thing is that you get immediate access to an incredibly warm, loving, and supportive community of people. We typically have about 1,000 parents in there at any given time. Um, and it can go a little bit over, a little bit under, but those are very knowledgeable, skilled, compassionate, kind-hearted parents. And so I do find that the hive brain is really helpful, being able to connect with other parents and being like, I'm having this problem, or my daughter is doing this compulsion. Does anybody else have this struggle, or has anyone else ever dealt with this? Or I live in Oregon, or I live in Canada. Has anybody else found an OCD therapist that's effective? So having that hive brain is really, really helpful. So the community part is really powerful, but we also have a lot of resources that you can tap into. You get instant access to talk to me. And so you can chat with me at any time. Actually, a lot of you who've just joined the community, we've already started to private chat. We have an app in the community, which is kind of our main hub. And so you can kind of take us on the go. And in the app, there is a chat feature and you can chat privately with me. You're, struggling, or your child's not sleeping, or you have an appointment tomorrow and you don't know what to ask the therapist, or you have a meeting at the school. You've got one-on-one support with me. You can also go into the parent feed and talk to the parents and say, what's going on here? I can actually sort members by location, and I can say, oh my gosh, this person lives literally like right near me. I'm going to chat with them and see if they want to get together, or maybe they just want to talk. And so it really bridges the community to give you that support globally, so that you can get support online. You can get support like in your own hometown, because in the app, it will sort out who is closest to you. So you can actually see these are the members that are the closest to me. We also do a lot of education. So besides just having this like huge community on tap to support you, you get a lot of education. We do weekly live Zoom classes, and the replay is available so that if you can't make it live, you can always watch the replay. We do monthly live support group calls, and we also do support group calls for the kids, and we do one for the teens. And that's been really helpful. We also just started doing special themed Zoom calls every other month, where we're going to do a dad support group call. We're doing an Australia support group call because the time difference with Australia is our only issue. UK, it's just evening, but Australia is the middle of the night. So we're going to do an Australia one. We're going to do a sibling support group call every other month. And so these will be helpful for your whole family. The goal in the AT parenting community is to be your support network, because your child with anxiety or OCD is not the only person who needs the treatment. It's your whole family. How does everybody survive and thrive with this really upsetting, debilitating disorder? And so, yes, it's the help for your child. How do I do exposure response prevention at home? How do I pull back my enabling of OCD at home? How do I create a school accommodation plan? Those are all important. How do I motivate them? But then also, how do you deal with your own grief? How do you deal with your own stress? How do you deal with your partner who maybe not be on the same page? How do you deal with, the constant buying of soap and toilet paper, right? These are all good questions that are important. And and so we support the whole family. Even if the child with anxiety or OCD doesn't want to move the dial at all, the family needs support. And that's what the community does. And that's why we have these other Zoom calls for other people in the family, because we want to be inclusive and support everybody. You also get access to over $500 worth of my online courses. So I have an online school at atparentingsurvivalschool.com. And that's separate. That's something totally separate. And people can purchase my on-demand courses: how to teach kids to crush OCD, how to teach kids to crush anxiety, space study guide on how to pull back your enabling of anxiety or OCD. And you get all of those. You get access to all of those for free as a member. They're actually on the app. And so on the app, you can literally pull up the courses. You can take them as you go. You can jump on a Zoom call when we have our Zoom calls on the app. So we try to make it as easy as possible. And so in the online school, the courses that you get are listed at atparentingcommunity.com, but I'll just list them here briefly. So the two that I just mentioned: how to teach kids to crush anxiety, how to teach kids to crush OCD, how to handle difficult behavior caused by anxiety, OCD, the space study guide, which teaches you how to pull back your accommodation of anxiety and OCD that makes it grow. We have a moral OCD course in there. We have a sensory anxiety course in there. Trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. I think that's everything. Talia said, are the videos and resources in the membership different from what is on your YouTube and podcast? Yes, that's a great question. They are completely different. My YouTube and my podcast are public, they're free, and they're just random topics. But the courses that you have access to are not anywhere. They're not on YouTube or the podcast. They're therapeutic, and they systematically go through the steps to teach kids to crush OCD or teach kids to crush anxiety. And there's worksheets involved. And the live classes that I'm doing in the community, they're not on my podcast and they're not on YouTube. Those are classes that we do in the community. And you have access as a member to all of our past classes. And we have, I don't know, probably over 200 or more live classes from when we've done them. Those classes tend to be more advanced. Normally, by the time you've been in the community 3 to 4 months, and this is horrible to say, but it's honestly true, as much as most therapists do about OCD and anxiety, but especially OCD, because OCD is very counterintuitive. And so there's a steep learning curve with OCD. And by 3 or 4 months, the average AT parenting community member knows the same or more than your average therapist, to the point where I've had therapists reach out to me and say, whoa, I just got a mom from your community and we didn't have to really do any education. Like, we just jumped into ERP because they were the most educated parent I've ever met. That is the biggest compliment, is the AT parents are super knowledgeable. So our classes become very advanced. We talk about a lot of in-depth stuff because a lot of the parents in there have been around for a while, have soaked up my resources, and they could literally be a therapist. I mean, they understand anxiety and OCD in a way that a lot of people don't. So I can't do that on a podcast or YouTube. I have to stay pretty surfaced. And so you'll see my podcast topics are pretty general because they're for the general public. But in the AT parenting community, you take the course, like how to teach kids to crush OCD. That's an under 3-hour course. And then you have your basic foundational knowledge, really good, solid understanding of exposure response prevention, how to pull back your involvement, all the OCD themes. There's also a workshop in the community on how to find the core fear. And we just added that recently. And that's $25 in my school. You get that for free. And that's also because that's the first thing I teach you is, do you understand the core fear that is driving the anxiety or OCD? So all of that is in the community. So those classes are more advanced. We also have some other extra stuff in the community that we've added over time. We do have a buddy program where we connect kids in real life. And so a lot of parents were saying, I wish my child had somebody else to talk to who has anxiety or OCD. And I wish that we could facilitate that. And we do have a support group once a month for the teens and once a month for the kids. And it's phenomenal. We normally have about, it ranges in the teen group. We normally have between 15 and 25 kids jump on the call each month. And it changes. Sometimes we have the younger group is how we have more kids in the younger group. Currently, we have more kids in the teen group. The younger group is maybe like 10 to 15 kids in there, but we don't let them share information. I moderate both of those support groups, and we don't let them share their personal like emails and stuff in the group just for like privacy sake. And so we created a buddy program where the parents can sign up and say, I want my child to connect with another child. And it's a very simplistic thing. Like we have a Google Doc, and then we connect people in the same area, and you can go and pick people on the list who also want someone for their child. And it's sorted by age, their interests. So if they're both into like Pokemon or they're both into photography, you can be like, oh, they both love that. That would be cool. Or you can even find somebody with a similar problem. Oh, they both have emetophobia, or they both have contamination OCD. And then you and the parent decide, what does that look like? What are the rules of conversation? Like, can they text? Can they FaceTime? Like, what will that look like? So that is another really cool thing that we offer so that we can connect you guys. Kat said, sorry if I'm off topic from the membership topic at the moment. I think the hardest thing for me is that the compulsions my teen participates in are rooted in practical and logical habits. Only that they take it to the extreme: hand washing, wiping, cleaning, and sanitizing. Yeah, I mean, this Q&A is specific for AT parenting community questions. I'll answer it, but just for anyone else who's going to start posting clinical questions, that's not what we're doing right now. I'm just jumping on here for a Q&A. So if you have community questions, ask those. I'm happy to dive into it. If you are in the series and you join the series, the temporary series Facebook group is still open. And Kat, I believe you were in the series. I recognize your name. And so feel free to post your questions in the temporary Facebook group. That Facebook group, and I think we are streaming in there right now, but that Facebook group is going to close down on Thursday, May 15th. And then you can join my public free Facebook group and get support and questions from other parents in there. We have over, I don't know, like 40,000 parents in that public group. And maybe Ayla can put the link in there. And then if you join the community, just message me. And if you have any questions, or you can just ask other parents. A lot of times OCD is practical. With COVID, people were worried about germs, and it isn't always not rooted in a rational reason. A lot of times kids are allergic to something. Maybe they're allergic to peanuts, but now they're afraid that, they'll breathe the air, down the street from a restaurant, and they might, get an allergic reaction. It's the extremity. It's like how extreme it gets. And that's what you want to look at. Even in COVID, where it was normal to wash your hands excessively, I had people who were washing more than what was even required in COVID. They were washing their hands multiple times around their house. Oh, I touched the table. Now I need to go wash my hands. So we always talk about what is the typical response in whatever's happening, and then what's the extreme response, and that's the OCD. Kat said, got it. I've also joined the community. I'll post there. Yes, definitely. And ask other parents too. In the community, we have such a wealth of parental support. Hold on. I thought I saw another question. Let me scroll back up. Janie said the buddy system connection takes place on Google Docs. Is that how the young ones connect? No. You fill out, and Ayla can link it. If you're in the community already, maybe Ayla can link the buddy program link. You won't be able to access it if you're not in the community, because you have to log in. But you go to the buddy program page on the member website, and then as a parent, you fill out the Google Doc that says, I'm interested. I want to have a buddy for my child. And then when you join that list, you are agreeing to reach out to one other parent at least. It's not a passive list. You're going to reach out to at least one other parent to buddy up. When you join the Google Doc, you get access to a spreadsheet, to like an Excel spreadsheet. We're very like old school on this buddy program. And that is a private doc that no one else can see except people who have joined through the Google Docs. At that point, you get a list of parents. You get a list of the kids' names and the parents and the contact information, and you choose who you want to reach out to. And then when you don't want to be on that spreadsheet anymore, we take you off. The kids do not contact each other that way. Parents reach out to other parents, and then you guys decide how you're going to share information. Do you guys want them to call? Do you want them to Zoom? Do you want them to play Roblox together? We don't handhold it. It's just connecting you guys. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me just see. Lauren said, is there an option to cancel the subscription at any time? Absolutely. I hate subscriptions where it's hard to cancel. When you go to the actual member website, you click on your profile, you go to your account page, and then boom, you can cancel. You can upgrade to a 6-month or a 12-month. You can pause it. You could do whatever at any time. And if you get confused, which you shouldn't, but you can email us and we'll do it for you. Talia said, if I got the discounted 6-month membership, what are the options to continue after that? So once you get the 6-month subscription, because they're subscriptions, right? So they auto renew unless you cancel them. If you don't like auto renewing, you can cancel it and then just mark it on your calendar to renew it at that point. But they're all like auto renew, like any subscription is. And so it will just automatically renew 6 months later. With the 6-month and 12-month subscription, Ayla does email you to give you a heads up and say, hey, your 6-month subscription is coming up. Do you want to cancel? Do you want to stay? I just want to let you know. And so it doesn't catch you off guard. So that, because I think that's not cool when you're like, what? I didn't know this was coming up. So you get an email from her so that you can make that decision. But it will automatically do it for you, and you'll get the discounted rate no matter what for as long as you're a member. Once you cancel and you're gone, you lose that discounted rate. Janie said, pause it, the subscription. What does that look like? It just means, like, let's say you want to take a month off. There's a button that says, I want to pause it, and that everything is saved for you. And then you can unpause it and then just continue. So it's a little different than cancel because everything is kind of just holding there for you. On our member website, you can do things on your profile. Like you can chat to me on the member website. It's easier to chat with me on the app, but you can chat with me also on the website. All of our discussions will stay there. You can bookmark things. So like, let's say you're watching videos and you're like, ooh, that's a good one. I want to show that. I want to show my child. You can bookmark it. And so you can have all these bookmarks. And so you may not want to lose all that. And so you can pause your membership if you need to take a month off and then come back. So those are all really great questions. Hold on a second. Kat said, how often do teen groups, chat, support group calls, or other support options meet in the community? So you have ongoing just support by just being able to, we have the app where you can just talk to members at any time and talk to me at any time. But then we have structured groups. So we do the weekly support group. Hi, Renee. We do the weekly support. We do the weekly class. Every Friday. So every single Friday we jump on a live Zoom and I'm teaching, but it gives you an opportunity to get some support and ask questions from me and other parents. Once a month, we don't do the live class and we have our support groups instead. So the support groups happen once a month on Zoom. Every other month we do a bonus extra one, and that will be themed. So that will either be dads or it'll be siblings, or it will be, what was the other one that I was talking about? Oh, we're doing one that's 18 and older. We have like 4 different ones that we're doing. And so those are the things that we're doing. Let me see if I missed any other questions as I was doing that. These are all really good questions. What other questions do you have about the AT parenting community? I am happy to answer them. We have people of all ages in there. So we have parents who are raising preschoolers, and we have parents who are raising adults, like in their 30s. If you are a parent and you are supporting a child, even if it's an adult child with OCD, and you want support and you don't want to do it alone, you are welcome. We have, and actually in our app, which I love this on our app, but I wish I could show you, but for confidentiality reasons, I can't show you because it actually has the pictures of the members if they want to show their picture, but it organizes it by age. And so with your name, depending on if you fill out your profile completely on the app, it will say like Natasha Daniels, or if I just want to put my first name, it'll be like Natasha, and then it'll be like she has the kid with OCD between the ages of 14 and 16. So you'll instantly know just looking at my profile, oh, she's got a child my age. Um, and then when you look at all the members, it sorts it by parents who have different kids' ages. And it's super cool for me to go look at it where I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all the parents that we have who have kids over 24. And look at all the parents that we have that have kids who are like 4 to 6. So we have a very broad range, which I think is really helpful. And we also have kids with multiple different diagnoses. And so we have kids who have they all have anxiety or OCD. So that's an important thing, anxiety or OCD. And then they might have ADHD. They might be autistic. They might have PANS or PANDAS. They might have tics. They might have body focused repetitive behaviors like picking and pulling. They might have ARFID, avoidant restricted food intake disorder. They might have misophonia. A lot of those common different co-occurring situations. Okay, I'm seeing some questions. I'm ignoring them. I'm sorry. Sarah said, what time of day are the Friday Zoom calls? Sorry if I missed this before. They are typically Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific. Ayla's like, go ahead. You don't know. 2 p.m. Eastern. But you can catch the replay. And you do have an opportunity to submit your questions to me in advance. So let's say you're not able to ever make that time, but you love the topic that we're going to be talking about. You can email me and say, Natasha, this is my question. And I will read your question in the live class and I'll answer you. So you can still participate even if you watch the replay. Jamie said, I was just going to ask about this, the age appropriateness for this group. Yeah, we have a wide range. Are there support groups for young adults? We just started to do the theme-based Zoom calls like I was talking about before. And so we didn't have support groups for young adults. And now we're going to add them. Every other month, we're doing a themed call and we're going to do a young adult one. My hope, and we'll see because it's ever evolving, really the community creates the community. So we started with a very bare bones offering of like the resources that were available. The community has been around for 6 years. It was created in 2019. And so it has grown and evolved. We didn't have kid support group calls. We didn't have teen support group calls. We didn't have a buddy program. Those were all created because members wanted those things. And so what was I going to say? Oh, so if we find that there is a big need, hello, Selena, if we find if there's a big need for a young adult support group, we'll add that, or we'll get somebody to monitor one. Janie said, buddy system is only for kids and teens, correct? Yes, but we do have a parent connection program. So yeah, it's not for young adults. We don't have one for young adults at this point. If we saw a need, we could change that. But we do have a parent connection one as well. Let me just scroll down here. Talia said, is it easy to connect with other parents dealing with specific OCD themes? Yes. And so in the app, if they fill out their profile, now we just launched the app in April. So it's brand new. We've always had the member website and we've always had a member Facebook group. We're trying to move everything off of Facebook. We still have a member Facebook group, but the app is so much better. And so in the app, when they fill out their profile, they actually mark the different themes that their child is dealing with so that you can search by theme and you can say, oh, here's another parent that's dealing with contamination OCD. Or you can ask. Sometimes people will just be like, who else is dealing with moral OCD? But I love that you can actually see it through their profile if they fill out their profile. And we're going to work on making sure that people fill out their profile. It is new. Julia said, when you sign up, do you automatically have access to all of your courses, or are there other ones offered to purchase separately within the community? You have access to most of my courses. And maybe Ayla, can you list them? Because I went through them before. One that you don't have access to is how to crush social anxiety. That one is not part of your membership. And you don't have access to the kids and teen course on how to crush OCD. That one's not in there as well. But you get access to everything else, which was, Ayla will link it, but how to teach kids to crush OCD, how to teach kids to crush anxiety, how to do the SPACE program, how to handle difficult behavior caused by anxiety and OCD, moral OCD course, a sensory anxiety course, a core fear course, a core fear workshop. Those are the ones that you get access to. Kat said, am I correct in understanding that the weekly classes are geared towards parents and not children? If my child is 18, would it make sense for them to tune in with me to watch the classes, or is the content different for those who have the OCD challenges that need to be addressed? They are ready to make a change, but scared to start. I'm hoping that arming them with knowledge will give them power. That's a great question. Really, the goal of the AT parenting community is to support you. I mean, it is AT parenting community. We added the support group calls for the kids and teens, and now we're doing the every other month for young adults because parents wanted it. But ultimately, it's how do you help them? So I help you help them. So people will message me and they'll say, she really shut down last night, or she wants to do exposures. How do we figure out her core fear? And I will help you help her. It's not appropriate for her to watch our live weekly calls or our parent support group calls. Those are really parent oriented. I'm teaching you how to help your child, whether they're a teen or young adult. And so I wouldn't recommend that they watch them, but it will arm you with the right knowledge and skills to help her, and she can jump on the young adult support group call when we have them offered, and take advantage of that. Inside the How to Teach Kids to Crush OCD course, there are a few videos that I have that are for you to show your child, teen or young adult, and so there is that component. I also have created videos that are not on YouTube. They're just for members. Sometimes there are themes and things that I don't feel comfortable doing on YouTube because YouTube, like sexually taboo themes, YouTube will mark me and they'll flag my account. And so I've never done a topic like that, but it's a common struggle. And so I made a video for our members on sexually taboo topics for our teen and young adult strugglers. And so those are in there as well. There's something else I was going to say to you about that. But I can't remember. Let me try to think. Yeah, there was something else I was going to say, but it left my brain. But these are really great questions. And so my hope is that people will see, oh, I know what I was going to tell you, is that a lot of times when parents are helping their kids, they'll say, okay, here's the core fear, Natasha. And then they'll be like, where should we go from here? And a lot of times I'll be like, I don't think they understand enough about their theme as we're chatting and going back and forth. And you can private chat with me, or you can chat with me kind of in front of the community, because sometimes people learn that way. And so we have a Talk to Natasha feed on the app, and then you can like press the chat button and private message me. But I will walk you through it. And sometimes I'll say, I just feel like they don't understand their theme well enough. And I will curate my YouTube videos. I will like list them. I'll be like, here are 10 videos, and in the order that I feel like you should show your child before you get started. And then when you're doing exposures, I'll be like, here are some ideas. And I'll be like, here's like 10 ideas to jumpstart you. And so getting that assistance, and that could be something that your young adult child and you both learn from and utilize the community in that way. All right. Any other questions about the community? Let me just see if there's anything else I didn't mention. The other thing that we do hope messages. This is just something that we just recently added. It is only for the United States at this point because it got very expensive very fast, and we do it for free. If you have a child, teen, or young adult who is feeling hopeless, feeling alone, feeling discouraged, we will send them a hope care package. And so sometimes we'll have other members write the letter. So my daughter is my biggest writer. She's 13. So if the child is anywhere near her age, so like if they're like 21, I don't have my daughter write a little letter to them because that would be weird. But like yesterday, we had a 12-year-old request. It was a 12-year-old from the community who was feeling hopeless. And so she wrote a handwritten letter to that person about their type of OCD and giving them hope. And then I add little trinkets. I add like a keychain. I add like a little sticker and a little card, and we send it to them. So that directly to the child, teen, or young adult. And the hope is that they know they're not alone and that we're here to support them. So an incredibly loving, supportive community. The doors do close. The reason why we close the doors is because I take a huge amount of time when people come in answering all their questions. Everybody, when they first join, they want to talk to me. They want guidance. They want the next step, the first step. What should they do? And so I clear my schedule to make sure I'm completely available because I know I'm going to be inundated. It's a full-time job for me. I'm going to be inundated with just trying to be as responsive and supportive as I can to all these new people. And it's a lot. We normally get, a couple hundred people coming in when we open the doors like this. And so we do have to keep it closed. Once it's closed, I can support the people that are in there. And then we reopen again in a few months. So we'll reopen again probably. Why can't I? Let me just. I don't know why I'm seeing two messages on top of each other. But the doors will close this Thursday, May 15th, and they'll reopen probably in 3 months after that. We normally open every 3 months. And so I always feel like people start to make progress 3 to 4 months into the community. They start to really get their bearings. They start to take the courses. They start to ask questions. They start to narrow their focus. A lot of times I connect them with the right therapist so that sometimes they get the right support they didn't know. I was just talking to a parent in there yesterday who was like, please tell me you know what misophonia is. And I was like, I not only do I know what misophonia is, I actually have it. It's a struggle. And that member was saying, I don't know why. Oh, for some reason these things are like the chat is like on top of each other. I wonder why that's doing that. I'm trying to see if I can undo it that way. No, that's really weird. I don't know why it's doing that. But it was like connecting people to the right resources. And so I was like, yeah, I know a therapist who's a misophonia specialist and, she's in Georgia, but this person was not located in Georgia. And I said, but there's SIPAC, which actually means that a psychologist in New York can see, I can see like I'm in Arizona, my kids see a therapist in Georgia because we're part of SIPAC, and maybe Ayla can leave the link to SIPAC. So SIPAC is a reciprocity licensing, which means if your state is part of SIPAC, it means that you can see another psychologist in another state that is also part of SIPAC, which opens up the opportunities. And so I found that this member was in a state that was part of SIPAC. And I was like, you can see this misophonia specialist because she is, she's in Georgia and you're allowed to see her in Georgia. And so part of what I feel like the community does is connect you to resources. She's like, oh my gosh, I never knew that. Like to get that instant support. So a lot of times members only use one or two things. I know, Renee, I wish they had that there too. I know where you are. It's like, there's only like a handful of states that are not part of SIPAC. So that's so frustrating that you happen to be in one of those states. Let me go back up because it looks like it kind of fixed itself. It was well, no, up here, it's all still a bit weird. Kat said, is there a buddy system for 18 or older that are about to embark in college? No, and Ayla already answered that, which I appreciate. I don't know, Ayla, if you can link the International OCD Foundation Young Adult Special Interest Group, but part of the reason why we don't provide those resources is because once you're over 18, there are a lot of resources available to you. OCD Game Changers does peer support and they have their groups. NoCD has groups. The International OCD Foundation has a very active young adult special interest group that Ayla just linked, and they're phenomenal. And so we kind of feel like there are resources there, but there are very, very few, if any, resources ongoing for kids under 18, and even less resources for parents raising kids with anxiety and OCD of literally any age. I'm truly probably the only person that's providing global support online to parents raising kids with anxiety and OCD. Anxiety, there's some things out there for sure. OCD, nothing. We are the only group that is this organized community that has live classes and support group calls and weekly get-togethers and things that are happening. So hopefully you'll join. It's a phenomenal group. I love what I do because I get as much back from this community as they get from me. It's not my community. It is a community of people. And I feel like I'm part of the community, but the community is its own thing. Sarah said, are you able to help connect Canadian members to available resources within Canada? Yeah, we do have a lot of Canadians, and we do try to connect you with resources. They are limited because that is part of the problem with Canada. And I do feel like that is why we have so many Canadians, is we have a lot of Canadians, a lot of British families, and a lot of Australia families. Those are like the three um, countries that we have so many members from besides the United States. And I think because Canada does really struggle with their OCD resources, there's a handful. Um, a lot of times the Canadian parents will give you resources more than even me because it's constantly changing like who they think is qualified and who they have had good experiences with. And so you will definitely find a lot of Canadian support in the community. We have members who have been there for years and years who are a lot of Canadians. Got a lot of Canadians in there. Um, any other questions? So when you join, feel free to jump in and say hello and ask me how I can support you. We do have a Zoom call coming up for new members. So those of you that have already joined, let me tell you when it's going to be. It's actually going to be, is it this Sunday, Ayla? No, next Sunday? No, this upcoming Sunday. Yeah, it's going to be this upcoming Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. I always have to do that in my math. And so we do a new member Zoom call where we get to meet all the new members, get to have you introduce yourself, get to hear your story, or you just get to meet other people. You don't even have to have your video on if it's uncomfortable. Talia said, just to verify, the regular and bonus video recordings from the series that just closed will be in the membership too. Yes. I tend to give a lot to the community. They get a lot of free stuff. They get access to things that I've done that go away. And so you will get in the community, actually, even on the app, you will have the survival series in there, the one that you just took, as well as the bonus classes. We update the bonus live classes because I do this series twice a year, and every time I do new bonus classes. And so we always update the bonus classes. So yeah, when you get in there, it'll all be there. So if you want to kind of still go through it and watch those, it'll be available to you. When I do the series again, we'll update the bonus live classes and give you new ones. The Anchor series that I just did a couple of months ago is in there. That Anchor series is how to be an effective anchor to ground your child and support your child. If you cannot anchor yourself, you cannot anchor your child. And so that was that was a brand new series that I did about 3 months ago. It was really popular. We're going to do it again in 3 months. So stay tuned for those of you that are not in the AT parenting community. You could check that one out, but that is available as well permanently in the community. The other series that you have available inside the AT parenting community is my self-care series. And I've retired that series. I will not do it ever again, but as a member, you'll always have access to that too. And that series, and maybe some of you have taken it before because I've done it a lot. That's why I retired it. Because I mean, I've probably taught that series like 12, 15 times. Maybe I'm exaggerating. That might be too much. But that is always in there too. So you'll have access to those things. And if I ever do anything else, I always gift it to the community. When I write a new book, a lot of them get my book for free. When I'm doing something new, they get to test it for free. When I was making my OCD card decks, some of them got them for free. Like, we do fun things in there and people get access to stuff way before anybody in the public gets it. So Talia said, this all sounds amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I hope you join. I just think it's a phenomenal place. I honestly wouldn't say that if I didn't feel like some magic happens in this community. And the progress that a lot of people make is phenomenal because a lot of people are on the wrong path and they don't know it. And just having a community and just having me in there being like, you're focusing here, but you really need to move over here and focus here. Or you're seeing this therapist and there's this phenomenal OCD therapist in your community that you should probably be seeing. Just those tweaks really move the dial. And for the parents that have had chronically debilitating OCD, like kids with debilitating OCD, who are just not willing or able or just too not well to get better, the parents have gotten better. And that is also the goal that I think sometimes we don't have for ourselves is even if your child is chronically struggling with anxiety or OCD, you can get better. You can have a better, healthier way of dealing with your stress, way of dealing with the child or teen or young adult. This is your life too. And supporting you through that and how you manage your own stress or grief or sanity is equally important. So you can learn more at atparentingcommunity.com. Check it out. Go to the page. It goes much more in detail. There is on that page, there is a video of like all of our members, not all of our members, but a handful of our members talking about their own experiences. So if you want to watch a video about members talking about their journey through the AT parenting community, check out that video. There's another video on that website as well, and it's a sneak peek into the app. And so I made that video before we opened it up to our community because I knew once we opened it up to the community, I would never be able to show it to you again because we have people's names in there and stuff, and we are very tight with confidentiality and ensuring that our members feel like it's a private, protective space. And so I did a tour of it before we opened it up so that you can see what it looks like inside. So check out the videos on that page, and I will meet you over in the AT parenting community. If you're watching this after I end this and you have questions, just leave a comment below and I will circle back all day and tomorrow and the next day until Thursday when we close and answer your questions. All right. I look forward to seeing you over there. Take care. Bye.